I've been having technical issues. Our TV died yesterday, so we bought a new TV. And when I hooked the HDMI cable into the new TV so that we could follow the service here at home, the new TV kept saying, please plug in your device, even though I'm all plugged in. You need an HDMI cable. No kidding, because that's what anyway. So just bear with us. If you're Richard, this is really not the time for that. That might have been able to wait. All right, this is Monday afternoon, August 29th, last Monday in August. Thank you for joining us out there. If you're following us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Twitch, it's because of Restream.io. This is Scriptural Salvation Baptist Tabernacle. My name is Andy. Welcome to our living room. As a follow-up to the end of last week, where I told you we were going to go to a church that invited me out for an interview, it turns out that with my job schedule, it's impossible for me to guarantee that I can be a full-time pastor anywhere than here. So I kindly told them that I would have to pass, and I would just be keeping up here with our Monday broadcasts. So that's where we are. Seated right in front of me, Paul. Steve to my left. What? It's on. That's all I have to say. Richard's to my right.
Yo.
Jacob's off camera to my right. The dog is here. We have Hannah. We have Grace and her friend Nadia, who they call Zero. You've got me so confused by calling her Zero so much.
Leah.
And then heading upstairs to my wife and the baby because it's hot down here. It is hot. It is hot. It is hot.
Ooh.
Even with air conditioning and fans going, we are sweating.
Oh, my fingers
I
are
feel
sweating.
Paul, that was.
Richard, nobody asked.
Now, like I said, we don't have the service displaying up on the TV like we normally do, so it's tough for me to see the screen from here. But I'll do the best that I can. All right, our first song
Beep.
is called As the Deer. As the Deer is the name of the song. And the verse is, As the deer panteth for the water, so my soul longeth after thee. So, I got so behind with trying to... Hold on.
This is nice.
Hannah? I will try to iron out our technical difficulties for next week. Well, no, next week is Labor Day, so why are you doing this to me? I can't see. All right. Okay. As the deer panteth for the water, so my soul longeth You alone are my heart's desire, and I long to the deer panteth for the water, so my soul longeth after thee. You alone are my heart's desire, and I long to worship thee. You alone are my strength, my shield. You alone may my spirit live. You alone are my heart's desire, and I long to worship thee. You're my friend, and you are my brother, even though you are a king. I love you more than any other, so much more than anything. You alone are my strength, my shield. You alone may my spirit live. You alone are my heart's desire, and I long to worship. Nice. Okay. Okay. Now we are going to be starting our second week of studies in parables, which were very similar to words like paradox, paragon, paragraph, yep,
Parasite.
parallel, parasite, because they went alongside of something, right? So a parable is an earthly story that has a heavenly meaning. It goes alongside each other.
Right.
It's four sentences that four or more sentences you can string together to have the same main idea, but they all go alongside each other in a story, right? Okay. So we are continuing on that stream of thought with our study of parables. That'll be interesting because we're going to be no, why are you doing this to me? There.
Okay.
Okay. No. This thing.
It's like,
There.
screw you.
All right. So we're going to be reading through Psalm 42, and what I'll do is, when it's your turn to read, I'll call your name and you can come up and look at the screen.
Okay.
Yes. It starts with Richard.
Oh, nice. As a deer pants for flowing streams, so pants my soul for you. O God, my soul thirsts and
Thirsts.
darn
Thirsts.
thirsts for God and for the living God. When shall I come and appear before God?
Very good. Jacob. It is Psalm 42.
I know.
Okay. Sorry.
My tears have been my food day and night, while they say to me all the day long, "Where's your God?" These things I remember as I pour out my soul. How I will go with the throng, lead them in procession to the house of God, with glad shouts and songs of praise, a multitude keeping the festival.
Very good.
Procession.
Yes, it is procession.
Procession.
Oh, yeah.
Paul, just sit, Paul. Paul.
Why are you cast down, oh my soul, and why are you in
Turmoil.
turmoil within me? Hope in God, for shall gain praise Him, my
Salvation.
salvation and my God.
My soul is cast down within me, therefore I remember you from the land of Jordan and of Hermon and Mount Mizar. Paul actually has one more verse.
Deep calls to deep at the whirling of your waterfalls, all your
Breakers.
breakers and your waves have gone over me.
Okay.
By day, the Lord commands his
Steadfast.
steadfast love, and at night, his song is with a
Who's
prayer.
with me?
Oh, with me. A prayer to the God of my life. I say to God, my rock, why have you forgotten me? Why do I go mourning because of the
Oppression.
oppression of the enemy?
Yep. And Anna.
As with a deadly wound in my bones, my adversaries,
Adversaries.
whatever, taunt me, while they say to me all the day long, "Where is your God? Why are you cast down, O my soul? And why are you in turmoil within me?
Turmoil. Yep.
Hope in God, for I shall praise Him, my salvation and my God."
Okay. So the reason I chose this psalm is the very first verse of it is, "As a deer pants for flowing streams, so pants my soul for you." And the song we just sang was, "As the deer pants for the water, so my soul pants for you." So the song goes with that psalm. It's like poetry. Okay. Now,
It's time for the last Monday of May.
and because it's the last Monday of the month of August, we will be doing communion. For I received from the Lord what I also delivered to you, that the Lord Jesus, on the night when he was betrayed, took bread. Now I have to get the bread out of the oven. Hold on.
I already opened
Oh, thank you.
No, he's gonna get cake.
Yeah, she'd have this
All right, bread is still warm, but this time it's not burned.
and crunchy.
Ooh, oh yeah, ooh, it is warm.
Be careful.
All right, Steve. Hot. Did I eat this?
Oh, thank you.
Not yet. Don't eat it yet.
If you
I'll put the blanket on your lap. Yeah.
Oh,
There you go. Paul. That doesn't help. Hot.
man.
Hot. Perfect. Good.
Hot potato.
No, it's hot flatbread. Hot flatbread.
Hot
Hold on,
hot
Steve.
bread.
Oh.
Hot bread.
Take this. Listen, don't goof around here. This is hot. Okay. All right. He took. Thanks. And he took bread. And when he had given thanks, he broke it and said, "This is my body, which is for you. Do this in remembrance of me." And then that's when he. Whew. All right. This came out a lot better than last time. Because it's a garlic flatbread.
Yes, this blanket.
It's the not garlic flatbread tasted like dough.
It's like fun.
All right. In the same way, also, he took the cup after supper. So this is the juice. Don't drink this. Can I grab it? All right. Some grape.
I'll drink it while I'm in the kitchen when it says.
When I tell you.
Yeah.
Oh, I have one extra grape juice. No, that one's not wine.
I know.
This, on the other hand. How old are you? Yeah.
Don't you dare think about
We'll talk about this after.
Oh my god, I'm drinking wine. I don't like wine.
Grace, you wine all the time.
What do you mean?
Well, Now, I know this isn't a taste testing tour, but this is North Country Red by Thousand Island Winery. The wine we've arrived at as our. Where did I put the actual?
I'm thinking we should go and just.
This cup is the new covenant in my blood. Do this as often as you drink it in remembrance of me. This is what you drink. Okay. For as often as you drink, or as often as you eat this bread and drink this cup, you proclaim the Lord's name until he comes. And Hannah was very nice to make cupcakes so that we could have them with the communion. So thank you, Hannah, very much. It was very nice of you.
Daddy, you messed it
I
up.
got the last ones.
Daddy,
Okay.
you messed up the sun. You messed up the reading.
Paul?
It was
Paul?
fun. Yeah.
Paul? Shh. All right, so you're going to have to bear with me because I can't see it on the big screen.
How is it?
So the okay. So the communion reading comes to us from 1 Corinthians 11:23 through 26. And as I said before, communion in and of itself is not a special action that we take that does anything, but it's a reminder to us of the sacrifice that Jesus made for us, his body and his blood, to remind us of what he did for us.
Wow.
Shh. Oh, goody. These are going to be on the small screen, but we're starting off with a very short parable that appears in Matthew, Mark, and Luke. It's about 2 verses each.
Ah.
All right. So, Richard, can you read that parable from Matthew? Oh, wait a minute. I have to share it to the screen. Hit the Windows button for me while you're over here.
Oh, Windows.
Good. Yeah, because the people in the audience would. Wait a minute. Did I share it? I may have.
Steve, do you like cupcakes? Okay.
All right. It's tough when I can't see what's going on. What does that say right there? Matthew?
Yep.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to put this on my phone just so I can see what I'm doing.
You're welcome.
All right.
Okay. Okay, Richard, go ahead with Matthew. We are chapter, what, 9?
Yes.
16 and 17.
No one put a piece of unstunk cloth,
Unshrunk.
unshrunk cloth on a old garment.
Yeah.
For the patch. Tears away from the garment, and a worse tear is made. Neither is new wine put in old wine skins. If it is, the skins burst,
So let me speak up a second one.
and
Oh.
the wine is spilled,
Oh.
and the skins are destroyed. But new wine is put into fresh wineskins, and so both are
Preserved.
Ah,
Mark is pretty much the same. And Luke, no one tears a piece from a new garment and puts it on an old garment. So it's pretty much the only difference. So the whole parable is you don't take an old patch and put it on a new garment, or you don't take cloth from a new piece of clothes and put it on an old piece of clothes, because all it does is ruin your new piece of clothes. Shh. Okay. Yep. Are you serious? Nope. I did the wrong thing.
hey, hit it again.
Nope. I'm good. Yeah, it's very tough because I can't see. There we go. So what this parable is talking about is taking from a piece from a new garment to patch an old garment, or taking a patch that is unshrunk and putting it on a hole. Is what this parable is talking about. When you take a new garment and you cut a piece out of it to patch an old garment, it ruins the new garment or the new clothes. When you take an unshrunk patch and put it on something and then you go to wash it, the patch ruins and destroys the new garment. Either way, it's something that you don't do. Then he goes on and he talks about new wine in an old wine skin. Now, personally, I've never dealt with wine skins. I've dealt with boxes of wine, bottles of wine. But what a wine skin is, I'm going to put a picture of it up there now, is this. It's actually animal intestines that they sew off and they put wine inside. And apparently, if you put new wine into an old wineskin, because it's been used so many times, it's just going to break and all the wine's going to pour out.
Pit wineskins.
Yes.
I need part of this.
Hannah, you're. Oh.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you?
Oh, doesn't happen.
Mm-mm.
Like I said, I have a hard time seeing. Not very happy with Samsung right now. Last week. Now, this parable, as we learned about parables, is not talking about actually cutting up your new clothes and making patches for your old clothes, or taking a patch that you didn't pre-wash and putting it on your jeans so that when you do wash it, it distorts. Or it's not even talking about wine at all, even though it is Communion Monday. What this parable is talking about is two different systems for two different times. It's talking about your New Testament and your Old Testament. Jesus could have come and just taken the current Judaism and patched it, and taken his new system and made Judaism for what he needed it to be, but he didn't. He replaces it completely with the New Testament. And the next piece we're actually going to read comes from Matthew 13:44.
At Richard to Medicine, we are changing how vaccines our against spine procedure.
Yes, whatever that was. Yeah. The kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in a field, which a man found and covered up. Then in his joy he goes and he sells all that he has and buys the field.
Is the only of this kind of
I really want you to play that ad. The first time I heard this parable, it's very short, it's only one verse. The kingdom of heaven is like treasure in a field. It made no sense to me. You know, why did the man find the treasure in a field? Paul Alexander, please no. Now, why did the man take the treasure that he found in the field, keeps it hidden, covers it up, and then goes and buys the field? It made no sense to me at all. But actually, in the time that this happened, when this was going on, this made perfect sense. Whenever you found treasure, the treasure actually belonged to the field owner. So if you were out kicking through a field and you stubbed your toe on a giant diamond, that giant diamond in the field belonged to the person that owned the field. So what this person does is he covers it up so that nobody else sees it, and he goes, and in his love for this treasure, he buys the entire field. And with buying the field, he owns the treasure that is within it. And what this parable is about, although it's short, and although it doesn't make much sense unless you know what you're talking about, Jesus loved us so much that he went out and bought everything for us. Think of the kingdom of heaven as Jesus going out and paying the ultimate price for us, even though he didn't have to. So that's what this parable is about. Earthly story, heavenly meaning. going to look through Matthew 24, 45 through 51, and Luke 12, 42 through 48. All right. Bear with me. It's tough for me to see.
So, who's going to read this one?
Oh, Richard. How are you? All
I
right.
read the last one. Thank you.
Oh. Okay. All right. So it's a short little parable. It says, "Who then is the faithful and wise servant whom his master has set over his household?" I hope I saved this version. Yep, it's on the screen. Okay. "Who then is the faithful and wise servant whom his master has set over his household to give them their food at the proper time? Blessed is the servant whom this matter will find so doing when he comes. Truly, I say to you, he will set him over all his possessions. But if that wicked servant says to himself, my master is delayed, and begins to beat his fellow servants, and eats and drinks with drunkards, the master of that servant will come on a day when he does not expect him, at an hour he does not know, and cut him in pieces, and put him with the hypocrites. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth." Yeah. Okay. Now, what this short little parable is there's a servant. There are two servants here, and the master puts him in control of the household. And I'm getting frosting on it here. But I can't eat because I'm trying to talk.
I'm not a big fan of the cupcakes.
So from that little parable, the servant, there are two servants. One of them does what the master tells him to do and takes and hands out the food to everybody like he's supposed to. And then there's another servant who doesn't. He says to himself, well, my master's going to be late anyway, so it doesn't matter if I go and beat up the other servants and get drunk and eat all the food and don't do what I'm supposed to. Now, the talking about being food in this is symbolic because the parable about the master leaving the servant to serve food is symbolic of spreading the gospel or talking to people about the good news of Jesus. So if you go out and you serve food, you're taking what you know about Jesus and sharing him with others. So the good servant is going out and he's serving the food like he's supposed to. The wise servant does his duty. He spreads the gospel and he waits for his master to come home. And when the master does come home, he inherits all of it. He isn't just a little bit of a partner in it. He isn't just still a servant. He inherits all of it. Heaven isn't just a place that we're going to go and we're going to enjoy. It's a place that we're going to inherit where we're part leaders in everything in it. And that is one of the wonderful things about heaven. We do what we're supposed to do. We do what God wants us to do. We wait for God to come back. We're going to inherit the kingdom of heaven. We don't just barely go there. The wicked servant, though, says, my master is delayed. And this is one of the biggest lies ever. The biggest lie in history is not God is dead. The biggest lie in history is not there is no God. The biggest lie in history is Jesus is going to take forever to come back, so we have plenty of time. He's been gone for over 2,000 years now. There's no signs of him coming back immediately, so we don't have to worry about it. No, Jesus is coming soon. He told us we won't know when he comes. It's going to come when we least expect it. So we have to act like every day Jesus is going to come back. A big lie that we have sold ourselves on is we have plenty of time to just mess around and not worry about Jesus coming back. He will come on a day when we does not expect it, and at an hour he does not know. We read through the book of Revelation. All the stuff that happens through there happens, and the people aren't expecting it to. And that is what this parable is talking about. Be like the servant that is good and does what he's supposed to and tells the gospel to people and shares the message. Don't be like the servant that thinks that everything is just going to take, you have an infinite amount of time. Jesus could come at any time, so be prepared. Anna, thank you for the copies. That was nice.
Can we have
Now-
another one?
Paul, not right now. We're going to look at a more familiar parable. It is the parable of the Good Samaritan. Maybe you've heard this story before.
Samaritan.
And this comes to us from Luke 10, 30 through 37. All right. So let me get this up on the screen.
Daddy, are you able to do
All,
the every
all.
What?
All right. We are at the Good Samaritan, Luke 30, 30 through 37. Just go do what you're going to do. Yep, go do what you're going to do. Thank you, honey. Thank you, honey. Okay, Luke 10. Let's see, did I share this on the screen? Yes. All right.
Since you keep asking.
Oh, thank you, Hannah. That's very nice. All right, now Luke 10, 30 through 37. You may have heard this story before. Jesus replied, a man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho, and he fell among robbers, who stripped him down and beat him and departed,
This
leaving him half dead. Now by chance a priest was going down the road, and when he saw him, he passed by on the other side. So likewise a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side as well. But a Samaritan, as he journeyed, came to where he was, and when he saw him, he had compassion. He went to him and bound up his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. Then he set him on his own animal and brought him to an inn and took care of him. And the next day he took out 2 denarii and gave it to the innkeeper, saying, take care of him, and whatever more you spend, I will repay you when I come back. Which of these 3 do you think proved to be a neighbor to the man who fell among these robbers? And the man said, the one who showed him mercy. And Jesus said to him, you go and do likewise. Now, maybe you've heard this story before. Maybe we saw it in a VeggieTales, which we have. I'm pretty positive we did. Positive we did. Yep, we saw it right in the VeggieTales.
I miss lunchbox.
Oh, Richard, I need the button.
Yay.
Yay, just walking up and pressing a button.
Here we go again.
All right, children. Okay. All right. Now, there's a man traveling from Jerusalem to Jericho. And those cities were not that far apart. And he fell among robbers. But they were far enough apart that it isn't something you'd want to walk in a day. Well, you could walk it in a day, but it wasn't like a 15-minute walk. And what it was a dangerous road. And you shouldn't go it alone, and you definitely shouldn't be walking it as this man was. You should not be walking this road alone like this man was. So partially, it's this man's fault for walking on this road alone without a caravan by himself. But that's not important to the story. He gets taken upon by robbers, and he gets beaten up, and he gets stripped of all his clothes and his possessions and everything. He gets left there. And the first person he comes across is a priest who leaves him there and walks the other side of the road. And the second person he comes up to is a Levite, who also is a religious figure of the day. Maybe these high religious figures should have stopped and helped this man that they saw beaten bloody with nothing left to his name. But they don't. What Jesus is doing is he's showing the corruption and terrible attitude of the Jewish establishment. Paul Alexander,
Yep.
I'm talking, and I don't want the microphone to hear you. Okay. Jesus was showing the corruption of the political establishment of the day, how bad the priesthood had gotten and how bad the Levites had gotten, so that they weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing, which is taking care of people that needed it. The person that actually comes and helps the beaten and bloody Jew is a Samaritan. Now, Samaritans were related to the Jews. They were the related but hated Northern Kingdom Israelites. They believed that the true Israel religion was at Mount Gerizim, and they had their own version of the Torah, which was different than the one that the Jews in Jesus' day lived. So they were a little bit different, but they really weren't all that different. They were all from the same area. They all had the same ancestry. They believed in Moses. They believed in all the prophets. So they were very similar. But Jewish teachings of the day taught that if you come across a Gentile woman giving birth and she's having a difficult time, now a Gentile is anybody that is not Jewish. All right, so if you're a Jew, anybody that is not Jewish is a Gentile. So the Jewish teaching of the day is you come across a Gentile woman giving birth and she's having a difficult time, do not help her because you're only spreading the Gentile population. This was a teaching in the Jewish synagogues. They taught their people not to go out and help pregnant mothers. Yes, that's exactly the response that you should give to this, because that's ridiculous. Now, if they thought that about the Gentiles, where you shouldn't even help their mothers give birth if they're in trouble, they thought that the Samaritans were even worse. So this Jewish man that was beaten and bloodied on the path is found by a Samaritan who was hated. I got it. So I don't know what's... Okay, yeah, really. It's there. The Samaritans were thought even lower than Gentiles. And what this story is about is there's a Jewish man, and they're at a feast, and he asks Jesus, what do I need to do to get into the kingdom of heaven? And Jesus asks him, well, what did your religious leaders teach you? He says, well, they taught me to don't murder and don't steal, and to love my neighbor as myself. And Jesus says, well, who is your neighbor? And in order to teach what a neighbor was, Jesus told them this parable that even somebody that you were supposed to hate, with air quotes, hate because they were different from you, was your neighbor because they were willing to stop and take care of you. You were to love everybody. So that's what this parable is about. You aren't supposed to take those people from New Hartford, because they're from New Hartford and they live in a different zip code than we aren't supposed to hate them and treat them differently because they live where they do, even though they've given us pretty ample reason to do so. That's what Jesus is talking about here in this parable. Those people from Clinton, even though they live in a different zip code than us. So you get the point here, right?
Yeah.
Yes, them as well. Who is my neighbor? Everybody is your neighbor. We're all neighbors to each other because we all are from the family of God. And that's what this parable is about. We will end on another familiar parable called the prodigal son. It comes to us from Luke 15, 11 through 32.
We're already almost done?
Yep.
Oh, quick.
It's also because we're having technical difficulties. I can't see them.
And please say goodbye.
All right.
This means we're gonna have a large lesson next time.
Yep, I got to make up for it. All right, so Luke 15.
Technical difficulties. Please stand by.
Please don't.
All right. Let's see, is that? Oh, there it is. Okay, now this one we get to listen to through the Bluetooth speaker. So, it's Luke chapter 15, verse 10.
And he said, There was a man who had 2 sons, and the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the share of property that is coming to me. Be between them. Not many days later, the younger son gathered all he had and took a journey into a far country, and there he squandered his property in reckless living. And when he had spent everything, a severe famine arose in that country, and he began to be in need. So he went and hired himself out to one of the citizens of that country, who sent him into his fields to pigs. And he was longing to be fed with the pods that the pigs ate, and no one gave him anything. But when he came to himself, he said, How many of my father's hired servants have more than enough bread, but I perish here with hunger? I will rise and go to my father, and I will say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Treat me as one of your hired servants. And he rose and came to his father. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and felt compassion, and ran and embraced him and kissed him. And the son said to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. But the father said to his servants, Bring quickly the best robe, and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand, and shoes on his feet, and bring the fattened calf and kill it, and let us eat and celebrate. For this my son was dead, and is alive again. He was lost, and is found. And they began to celebrate. Now his older son was in the field, and as he came and drew near to the house, he heard music and dancing. And he called one of the servants and asked what these things meant. And he said to him, Your brother has come, and your father has killed the fattened calf, because he has received him back safe and sound. But he was angry and refused to go in. His father came out and entreated him, but he answered his father, Look, these many years I have served you, and I never disobeyed your command. Yet you never gave me a young goat that I might celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours came, who has devoured your property with prostitutes, you killed a fattened calf for him. He said to him, Son, you are always with me, and all that is mine is yours. It was fitting to celebrate and be glad. For this your brother was dead and is alive. He was lost and is found. Luke 16.
No, stop. Okay.
That's a weird play sign right there.
Okay. All right.
Like sign.
That wasn't too bad.
What?
This is a story about two sons, and how the younger of the two sons wants his inheritance. On an interesting note, throughout our study in the book of Genesis, we learned about how the younger son is always favored above the older one. But that has nothing to do with this. The younger son gets his inheritance and he moves away and he wastes everything. Maybe he went to college. Maybe he has a useless major like ant studies or whatever it is, something ridiculous, gender-specific wine drinking. I don't know, whatever he majored at college. Maybe he went to UC Santa Barbara, which is the top party college in the nation, and he wasted all his money on really good grape juice. He was drinking grape juice all the time, and he just got himself all silly. Now, this son is a mess, and he's out there, and he's away from home, and he wastes all of what was supposed to last him for the rest of his life. And when he had spent everything, a severe famine arose in that country. When it rains, it pours. There are always bad things seem to compound themselves, and that's not even a stranger to this poor guy. He's there and he spends all his money, and he wakes up drunk all the time from his grape juice and his useless college major, and he can't even get himself a good job, and then they have a famine. It has nothing to do with him taking all his money and blowing it, but when it rains, it pours. So then he goes out, he tries to find a job, and he finds a job feeding pigs. Now, to any respectable Jew, this was a big no-no. Jews and pigs were completely off limits in kosher dietary laws. So as Jesus is telling this story to any respectable Jew, and they hear that this man was out there and just wanted to eat the food the pigs ate, it was for dramatic effect for his Jewish audience. But when he came to himself, it's a very important verse in this story. The man is out there, and he's out with the pigs, and he's so hungry, he's looking to eat the food that the pigs are eating because he's wasted everything that he has. He has a useless college major, he can't get himself a job, and he drinks really bad grape juice all the time. He's out there, and all he wants to do is just eat the food that the pigs are eating. And the story here says, but when he came to himself, he has to change his own heart first. In order for anything else to fall into line and to start going in the right direction, he has to change his own heart first. When he came to himself. So he prepares himself a speech. He says, Father, I've been useless. I've blown all your money. I don't have anything left. You have servants that eat better than I do. I want to just come back and be one of your servants so that I can at least have food. So he prepares himself to say this whole speech. And what his father is here is symbolic of God the Father. Now, Richard, just throw the pieces away, keep the plates, right? Okay, thank you. The Father in the story is symbolic of God the Father. He is our Father that loves us and tolerates us, even though we're human and we make mistakes and we do awful things. And even though we should be thankful and love him, we forget about him at times. Now, that's in this story, the Father in this story relates to God, our Father. Now, The son, who has wasted everything and made a complete mess out of himself, tells himself that he's going to get all better and he's going to march up to his father and just ask to be one of his servants just so that he can eat food. And he walks home and his father runs up to him and he's so happy. And he's hugging him and he's welcoming him home. And the son tries to give him this speech about, I messed up. I went out and I went to UC Santa Barbara and I drank way too much bad grape juice. And I wasted all your money. But the father won't even let him finish the speech. He says, you are my son. You came home. I love you. I've missed you. I only want the best for you. And that is how God thinks of us. We mess up a lot as human beings. We are not perfect. We have a sinful nature. We're prone to making bad decisions and doing silly things and getting really bad college majors that don't benefit ourselves and our lives. If your college isn't for everybody that's go out and go to a trade and learn a skill. But this son goes home and his father is excited for him, and that is how God feels for us. We think that we don't deserve the love that God gives to us, but he does. He loves us unconditionally. We think that we don't deserve to be welcomed back into his family, into his house, but he always does. Now, don't go out and get any silly ideas like going to UC Santa Barbara and wasting your money on bad grape juice and bad college majors. Because I don't know if I'm as forgiving as the father in this story, but okay, we will move.
He's over here giving him a thumbs up.
Now, this story may be about being welcomed back into the family after you've gone and you've made bad decisions, and God always loves us. But at the end of this story, we get a piece of the older brother who was there and never left and never wasted his money and did everything that he was supposed to do, and he feels resentment. He is upset because he stayed there and did what he was supposed to do and didn't go off and waste his money and stayed at home with his father, and he's upset. And the father looks at him and says, you should be happy. We should be rejoicing. Don't get upset when somebody who leaves and goes away. You should be more happy that they came home and are doing what they're supposed to be than that they went away and made bad choices. We should try to get them back to where they're making good choices again. And that's what this parable is about. Let me find the mouse cursor.
Oh, mouse cursor.
Okay, and we will end on a song, Shout to the Lord. You should all know this one. We've done it before. All right. Shout to the Lord. Okay. Okay. Jesus, my Savior, Lord, there is none like you. All of my days.
Weekly broadcast.
All of my days are the weekly broadcast.
All my days are
Okay.
weekly broadcasts.
Rich, hit the button for me. I'm going to start the song again. That was my bad. I was trying to turn the volume off. Okay, let me. There.
Beep.
Airline's as loud as it gets. Savior, Lord, there is none like you. All of my days, I want to praise the wonders of your mighty love. My comfort, my shelter, tower of refuge and strength. Let every breath, all that I am, never cease to worship you. Shout to the Lord, all the earth, let us sing. Power and majesty, praise to the King. Mountains bow down and the seas will roar at the sound of your name. I sing for joy at the work of your hands. Forever I'll love you, forever I'll stand. Nothing compares to the promise I have in you. Why are you doing this to me? My Jesus, my Savior, Lord, there is none like you. Lord of my days, I want to praise the wonders of your mighty love. My comfort, my shelter, tower of refuge and strength. Let every breath, all that I am, never cease to worship you. Shout to the Lord, all the earth, let us sing. Power and majesty, praise to the King. Mountains bow down and the seas will roar at the sound of your name. I sing for joy at the work of your hands. Forever I'll love you, forever I'll stand. Nothing compares to the promise I have in you. Oh Lord, all the earth, let us sing. Power and majesty, praise to the King. Mountains bow down and the seas will roar at the sound of your name. I sing for joy at the works of your hands. Forever I'll love you, forever I'll stand. Nothing compares to the promise I have in you. Nothing compares to the promise I have in you. What song that was? Okay. I stopped it. I don't know what you're doing.
He was mean to.
Okay.
My hair.
Well, I'm sorry that this week has just been full of backsteps. Curse you, Samsung, for not connecting to for my not connecting to my computer. hopefully I have this resolved for next week. Oh, not next week. Sorry, the week after. Like I said, next week
It's Labor Day.
Is Labor Day, yeah. So it'll be Labor Day Monday. We will take a week off. And my birthday. Oh, it's Steve's birthday. So happy early birthday, Steve. It's probably some anniversary of your 30th birthday, right? Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, and we'll go with that. Yep.
30 years old.
It's an anniversary of his 30th birthday. We'll go with that. Thank you all for joining us. Hopefully in 2 weeks I'll be able to have this all figured out.
We just need
So-
to use this position.
Well, it has nothing to do with the position.
I don't care.
It's getting it connected to the TV to begin with. In 2 weeks, I hope to start the book of Exodus, since I've now found out that we're just going to stay right here and continue doing what we're doing. What, honey? Yeah, that's at 6:30.
Is that 6:30?
Yep. Dan's starting at like 6:30. So if we have church at 4, I'm pretty sure we'll be good. So
Yeah, we can make my marching band.
yeah, if we can make marching band at 6, we can make dance class that you can walk to by 6. All right. Anyway, back on track. Thank you. If you liked this, we hope to see you back or be able to.
Last time we did that.
Okay. Excuse me. I'm not done yet. You have that. Nope. You have that conversation after I'm done. All right. You can find this stream, on my YouTube page, on Facebook, on Twitter. You're out there somewhere. You watch this. It'll be up during the week on Rumble, which is another free sharing site. If you made it this far and liked it, great. And if not, thank you for making it this far into the broadcast. And we hope to see you next time.